You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCCW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to Jake from Sports Talk here on Lone Star Community Radio. I'm your host, Jake LaFleur, and I'm glad to welcome you here in the world of sports that I call my circus show, Jake from Sports Talk, here on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. If you're listening locally, like I said, on the 104.1, 106.5, or sorry, flip-flop that, 104.5, 106.1. But, I want to remind everybody, tune in via the app, which can be downloaded, Lone Star Community Radio app, IR Lone Star app. Either way, both names will get you there on any Android or Apple device. Listen to me worldwide, listen to the station worldwide, or obviously you can go to the irlonestar.com app, website, and you can listen to me worldwide there, as well as the rest of the station. That way you've got me anywhere in your life, anywhere in your world, and follow me. Follow the show on Facebook, follow it on YouTube at Jake from Sports Talk, and it's both the same both on YouTube and Facebook. And then as well, my email has now been officially changed, so it's now jakefromsportstalk@gmail.com. Use any one of those formats to contact the show. Reach out to me in the station and let me know what you think. Get involved in the conversation. I want to hear feedback. I want to hear arguments, dialogues. It's nice to have a little hatred in our lives every once in a while. It helps relieve some stress. We got our intern here on filling in engineering duties today. How you doing, Jaden?
I'm doing good. Back again.
Yeah,
Week two.
Week 2. Nice to have you there. Yeah. How's it feel being behind the boards? Is this your first time?
Yeah, just by myself, it's the first time. It's a lot more simple now that I've been here for, a week and a half now?
A week and a half? Yeah, it's not a hard job.
Day one, I was
just
over my head.
Don't tell my parents, because they paid me, paid for 4 years worth of college so I can learn how to do a simple job. No. If you're listening, Mom and Dad, I love you. Love you very, very much. All right. Well, yes, reach out to me. Get in touch with the show. Tell me if you think I'm right. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I would love to have the opportunity to prove that I know you're wrong and that I'm right. So, no, just kidding. All right, let's begin. Let's get this show on the road. All right, so as we start out every show, every week, we discuss what we missed over the past week since the last time we talked, so since last Wednesday. And the past couple weeks have been just basketball, NBA, heavy free agency, dominated talk. And this week, basically no different.
The first show since free agency started, because last week it was leading up to it.
It was all what could happen, right?
Yeah.
And now that it's actually, the window has opened and we are flooded, with just, I got to say, it's entertaining. It really is.
It is. There's a lot of questionable decisions. At the same time, there's a lot of pretty good ones.
Yeah,
too.
and so, we're going to get into the full NBA discussion, and I like having Jaden in here because he knows more. He follows the NBA a little closer than I do. Mm-hmm. So I think he knows a little more of the ins and outs of the workings, I guess. I can tell you the plays and the strategic nature of on-the-court play rather than, all the who's going to match up well with who.
Yeah.
He knows more of that. But, yeah, so we do have the biggest story, or the two big stories, I guess, coming from the NBA so far are the Indiana Pacers with the trading of Paul George to Oklahoma City for Oladipo and Sabonis. And then, like I said, we'll talk a little more about that coming up in the third segment. And then Gordon Hayward finally announced his decision from Butler. So, we'll see how that plays out. And like I said, we'll go a little further into it. But, yeah, he announced that he was going to opt out of his fifth-year option and take his talents elsewhere, just like LeBron did. And last night he announced that he was going to go to the Boston Celtics. No real shocker. His camp leaked that already. But, it was a done deal essentially from all the teams that he met with. And we was just waiting for the official announcement. He came out and he let out a real big real big statement to the Jazz fans, I guess, and to, I guess, the league and everything to kind of soften the blow of him leaving. He met with,
no, that sucked for Utah.
I mean, because they had a 6-year plan in place, and
no, they
and
were
now
on the rise too, for sure.
And this kind of, I'm not kind of, it definitely throws a wrench in that plan. So I'll be curious to see what, when we'll talk about, what we think the Jazz are going to do. But I got to give him some props and some credit, for at least putting out and attempting to soften the blow. But in reality, I mean,
he's still leaving.
He's still leaving, and it's only
leaving
so much.
is leaving.
There's only so much that helps, right? So, also in the free agency, also somewhat of a sports-related incident that, sad to hear. There was a terrible shooting that occurred at a nightclub in Little Rock, Arkansas, and Darren McFadden said that he had a few of his family members were one of the 17 that were shot and injured. Luckily, no deaths from this, event yet.
Good.
But to Darren McFadden and his family, and everybody else who was involved in that situation, always sad to hear that, something like this out of a silly altercation, this kind of violence has to come from it. So, I wish everybody out there that was affected speedy and full recovery, and that thoughts and prayers are with their families. So, all right, and so lastly, I want to talk, really quickly about the Terry Francona situation that isn't making a lot of headlines, and I guess I'm talking about it because I'm a diehard Red Sox fan, and he brought us our first championship in 86 years. So I have an undying love for the man.
Yeah.
Never even met him, but I hear. I mean, he looks like a really nice guy, but he had to leave a game last week due to some dizziness, some lightheadedness, elevated blood pressure. And they did some initial tests, and he came back for a few games, but he missed yesterday's game, and he may miss today's game as well. They were running some further tests. And where I'm going with all this is not to, bring the mood down or harshen the mood.
Yeah, Jake, come on.
I know, but it's to talk. It's just to start it's a segment transition. We're going to talk when we come back in the next segment about baseball, but in a all-star, heavy kind of way. Right here, I kind of want to talk about the rules of baseball, the game of baseball itself. And over the past few years, you've heard mumblings and rumors of different things that are going to happen in order to make the game more interesting, to make the game
robot umpires
easier to play. Robot umpires is one of those. A faster paced sort of game, and I am a big fan of that because. You look at what these guys go through. 162 games in 181 days.
Yeah.
That's less than 20 days off. Less than 20 days off in that long of a stretch, and you're playing, grueling 9 innings, and you're playing just dead heat of summer.
Yep.
A lot of these stadiums are outdoors.
Still open, yeah.
And they're going 9, 8, 10, games in a row, and a lot of the times they're 3-4 weeks on the road, away from home, away from family, and here's the result of what ends up happening from this. This unfortunate event that Terry Francona is going through is, it's rough, and I think it's avoidable. And one of the things like Chris Antonetti, the president for the Indians, came out and said, as I've continued to tell Tito, which Tito is Terry Francona. The most important thing is his health, and that we focus mostly on that. If that means he has to spend a day or two away from the ballpark, then that's what he needs to do. And yeah, that's great for a responsive sort of reaction rather than
that's what we expect.
Yeah, right. You're being reactive, not proactive, and I think there's a lot of ways to be proactive here. I think you can. I don't want to go as far as say, like I've heard some people say, shorten an individual game from 9 to 7 innings. I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that.
But I think cutting down,
amount
of games from 162 down to.
I mean, that's universal too across most sports. Because the NBA wants to do that too. They want to go from, 82 to 75, and then
for the initial first step, which is what do you need? You don't need 82 games. You don't need 162 games to determine. Who's the top 16 teams that should make the playoffs, right? You can Baseball, you can cut it down
Yeah,
a significant amount, I think. And then I think that looking at it from extra innings, so games that go into extra innings, don't let the game go past 12 innings. Take
12 innings? I don't know. It's always
that's a third of a game extra.
the thing with extra innings that I like. It's kind of like, especially they don't happen as often. Hopefully, depending on how your season's going.
We had an 18-inning game
But that's
this
so
year.
memorable. No one will ever forget that game, especially if you win. But if you lose, I get it.
It's not. But you look at it from like the bullpen standpoint of, you're killing your entire bullpen in that 18-inning game. In that 14-inning game, you're having to put guys on 5-day DLs just so you can clear some room on the roster, bring up some guys from AAA, and throw out kids that, frankly, aren't ready to be in the pros yet.
Well, I was thinking from a fan's perspective, but now that you've mentioned the managerial, strategic, I kind of do see it.
That's tough, and that's a lot of strain on the players, and that makes some pitchers have to come, some starting pitchers have to go in and do and pitch a relief inning, and that screws up their rotation.
A big thing too, going back to the game schedule. I mean, less than 162 is obviously a lot, but if we lessened it, I mean, we would see the pitchers have less arm injuries, and we'd actually get to see them play because there's every other year, like some big superstar pitcher, Tommy John, straight from the beginning, and I mean.
Well, you're seeing high school kids get that.
Yeah,
get that
definitely,
now. Yeah. And so I think you're seeing
kids are preparing themselves to throw their arms out.
Exactly, and you're seeing a lot of parents talk about, hey, I don't want my kid to necessarily play baseball because, A, it's too expensive. You've got to be on a club team or a select team eventually. If they're good enough, right?
If you want to be serious about it.
Yeah, if you want to be serious about it. And that costs an arm and a leg for parents to try to put their kid in a position to succeed, which that doesn't help the sport. You've got kids, solely going in and saying, okay, I want to be a pitcher, and before my arm is fully developed, I'm going to learn how to throw a curveball, a changeup, and a slider to make myself the best possible. But then they're having these, serious injuries, and that's causing major surgeries and everything. So it's one of those things. I've got one more change that I would like to throw at you. But we do got to go to our first break, and so we're going to go to the first break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk a little more baseball, but it's going to be mainly All-Star break talk and all that good stuff. So stick around. You're listening to Jake from Sports Talk here on Lone Star Community Radio 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. Stay tuned, guys.
A Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question or comment about one of our shows? Want to know how to reach a host? Just contact the station at irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back to Jake from Sports Talk here on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. Guys, get involved in the conversation. Come talk to me about the baseball talk that we're having right now. So we kind of got cut off there, and I don't want to hang around on this too much because I do want to go on to the All-Star talk. But so when I was saying about the cutting off at 12 innings, and so that basically, obviously, that would mean that can't go past 12 innings, so there's going to be a tie. Yeah. So you go to a point system like hockey does. So if you tie,
I was always interested by that the whole hockey.
And yeah, so I like it. So every game, if you go into a shootout, and you
is there a way to do a shootout in baseball though? You think?
No, but you don't do it.
Home run derby at the end of 12 innings.
Carlos, Stanton versus Aaron Judge at the end of every game. Now that would be entertaining.
Yeah,
that would be fun to watch. No, but you do it like a point system. So if you tie, you both get a single point. If you win before the 9th inning or the 12th inning, then you get 2 points. And if you lose, you get 0.
Well, in the spirit of July 4th, I mean, that's kind of un-American.
It's very un-American.
To tie,
I understand it's very un-American.
That's why baseball is the way it is.
Yeah. And I know there's so many of these unwritten rules that you can't change out there. But we're not in the
we're not in the
1920s anymore. Like, you can change things.
I'm kind of in the middle.
Okay, but the other one I wanted to throw out for the pace of game to help speed up the process, limit. So only say like once or twice a game you can change a pitcher in the middle of an inning. So you can change. So like if you at the
I from a fan's point of view, I agree because the commercial breaks,
and everything, it's
pitching coaches take like 20 hours just to get out to the mound.
Exactly. And so they walk out, and then it's the whole process of he's warmed up in the bullpen, but now he's got to come back out here and warm up again, and everything. And I'm totally for pitchers being prepared and ready, but that slows up the whole process. So say once or twice a game you can actually change a pitcher in the middle of your defensive half of the inning. Every other time, it has to be when that pitcher has to start that inning. And then that also adds a strategic element for the managers to say, okay, hey, this is when I'm going to bring him in, or no, I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave my starter out there and hope he can get me through the rest of this. So, what do you think? I mean, do you think that would be something feasible that the MLB could do?
In point of view of the MLB, that could be because they value tradition of baseball.
Yeah.
It's the national pastime. It would be too much for the MLB, I feel like, because that is also throwing in a new element into the entire game, and I don't think they want to change it that much. Because what I see with the MLB, what they're doing, they just try to make it, as of right now, they're trying to make it more viewer-friendly, faster breaks, faster innings, which they've done because they have those timers in between innings, which have actually done pretty good job.
And they just started the actual pitch clock in the minors.
Oh,
so,
they did.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that because that gives an advantage to the base runners. If it's on the way down, they're gonna steal when it's 3, 2, 1,
out,
go.
Right? Yeah, they can time it out. It's almost like a starter box, right? I guess baseball is probably doing the most to try to be proactive in making changes rather than football, which is very slow and very reactive. So, but anyways,
I mean, I don't know if it's just me. Going to a football game, like I went one time. It was an okay experience, but I mean, I'd rather stay home.
Well,
I feel like 50% of America feels the exact same way.
Yeah, and I don't want to go. Even baseball, I don't want to go.
Baseball is pretty fun.
I don't want,
especially at Minute Maid. If it was Arlington, 100 degrees, no way.
We were watching the Red Sox Rangers game last night.
Yeah.
They had to sit through nasty heat, and they got just killed by the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And the only reason why the fans were staying was because it was 4th of July and they wanted the firework display. Oh, those poor parents out there with those miserable kids, I'm sure. All right, so on to the All-Star Game talk. So, big notable, sort of situations here are the Astros with three starters.
That's right.
Altuve, Springer, and Carlos, and then you got the Nationals also with 3. So, I guess the big one here and I hate to harp on the Astros, but Jose Altuve, makes his 5th appearance in just 6 seasons, making 4 consecutive starts, and the All-Star game ties him with all these appearances, ties him with Lance Berkman for the second most in Astros history.
I actually have a question for you, Jake.
Yes.
If you were to leave off one of those Astros out of the 3, who would you leave off? Who would you knock off?
Who would I leave off?
Out of
those 3. I would not leave off Altuve, and I would probably leave off Springer. I'd leave off George.
Even his leadoff?
I would leave off George. Because you could put Altuve in the leadoff position, and he would do just fine.
Yeah.
He would do just fine.
I mean, we were talking earlier with Dick. There's no really point anymore to the All-Star game because of the home field advantage. They took that rule away.
So. Well, and so you don't like that, right? You want the home field advantage.
No, I'm okay with it. No, I think it's putting too much pressure on the All-Star game because an All-Star game is supposed to be a break.
It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. But why am I going to...
But not too enjoyable.
It's supposed to be enjoyable.
Don't make it like a joke. Don't make it like where they're doing like crazy like jump throws every play.
I want bat flips with ground out singles. I want bat flips with every 3-pitch strikeout. I want just as much fun, and I want it to be like a European soccer match where there's people literally dying after the games. Like that's so much fun. People actually care and they get more passionate, and then ticket sales increase and they go through the roof. And I don't know why baseball is so afraid of
Well, I
of
mean, they
having a
do
little
have the
fun.
home run derby. I think that's where they let all the home run hitting go to, and then they're more serious for the All-Star game.
No, I want a keg at each base, and I want keg stands if you hit a grand slam at home base. Like, come on, that's fun.
That's such a Jake suggestion.
It may be a Jake suggestion, but come on, it's fun, it's enjoyable,
Yeah.
and I don't think the All-Star is something that has nothing to do with actual regular season play, because it's not like, beat writers are putting these guys in the game. It's fan based.
Yeah.
Fans vote these guys in, and so why would a fan choice event have any sort of consequence on the regular or on the postseason?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It should have no effect on the World Series, but I still think I wish there was something they could play for that wasn't that serious. But I still want them to play for something.
Well,
But I don't know what that is.
what are you gonna play for? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the NFL makes them play for $1 million bonus.
There should be a cool trophy. Like, honestly, if that was the prize, that'd be okay with me. And then have fun for the rest
I
of
guess you could see Bryce Harper and Aaron Judge just like going neck and neck at each other for this I don't know, whatever stupid trophy they came up with, but they just it was too serious, and
I agree with that.
it made it fun to watch. It made it enjoyable. It did. I'm not going to say that it wasn't a fun event to watch, because you saw the managers, actually take it serious and actually try really hard and
It's
and
kind
go.
of funny because, I mean, with the All-Star, like, the pitchers are so good, and most of the time, good pitching will supersede good hitting. So
Oh, yeah.
the games go by like hour and a half.
Yeah, they're
and
real
it's already,
quick.
like,
And there's
ninth
there's
inning.
less commercial breaks because there's not. Their pitchers are going full innings. There's not as many in the middle of an inning change.
Because you can start throwing the guys who are throwing 100 in like the fourth
the
inning,
fourth-
because you got like 6 of them.
Well, and so like the American or the National League starting pitchers are just nasty. I mean, you've got what? Kershaw. You've got Greinke. Where's my other ones?
It sucks that the Astros those 3 guys have to hit against all these people.
Well, yeah. Okay, so oh goodness gracious, I had them all written down and I can't find it. Anyways, yeah, but then you look at the American League side of things with
Not as good.
the starters aren't as good.
Yeah. Well, Keuchel got voted in, but he's hurt. So
Yeah, so he won't be in it. But you've got Andrew Miller, and then you've got the
Betances.
Betances.
Chapman. Is Chapman?
No,
on the team?
Chapman's not in
Oh,
there.
really?
No.
I think he's had an off year.
It just hasn't been as stellar. And then you've got I'm blanking on the Red Sox closer, and I'm a Red Sox fan. I should, I belong in a very bad place for that. Anyways, whatever. Who cares? The closer for the Red Sox is in there as well, and those 3 are probably the 3 best, finishing pitchers, and you could bring those in starting in the 5th, and they would just dominate the rest of that game. I mean,
if you really want to be strategic.
Yeah,
which they
Andrew
don't
Miller
have
could
to be.
Andrew Miller could go pitch you, the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and then you could bring in your 2 other closers, and just that was it. A ball game over.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to give it. I think they combined for an average of like 1.91 ERA to this point of the season. No.
It's some insane number.
But
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't really have. An All-Star game is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And that,
it's
I mean,
not
with the
supposed to
NBA
have-
one, I think the MLB is afraid to, because you've seen the NBA All-Star games.
Yeah.
0 defense. They're
Yeah.
just lobbing.
Well, it's the same as the NFL.
Yeah.
That's what the NFL
Yeah, they're just
has.
throwing Hail Marys every play. Just go and get the ball. But I feel like the MLB is just trying to avoid it being too.
Yeah, but you're not going to have a pitcher go out there and not pitch.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
Pitchers can't pitch, softer. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't work for them that
Yeah.
way. It's different. And so batters are going to go up there and try to put on the biggest amount of show as possible.
Yeah.
And so they're going to, they're going to, Kimbrel. There we go.
Yeah, Kimbrel. Yeah, there you go.
It was bugging me.
It was bugging me too.
it was
I didn't want to
itching-
say it on the air though.
It's in the back of my brain. God, Kimbrel. Okay, got it out there. Yeah, between Betances, Kimbrel, and Miller, that's the greatest 3 relief pitchers in an
You're
All-Star
pretty
game,
set.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, we're going to go to our mid-hour break, and we are going to come back, and we're going to start the talk of NBA basketball, all the movement, everything that's going on there. But yeah, get in there. Let me know what you think about the baseball talk. I want to hear some feedback from my fans, from my listeners. YouTube or Facebook, Jake from Sports Talk. Email me, jakefromsportstalk@gmail.com, or call into the show, the station at IR Lone Star. And you're listening to Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. We'll be right back.
All right, I know I'm interrupting the show for you, but this is Dick telling you to make sure to check out Mornings with Lone Star's YouTube channel. I know Lone Star Community Radio has a lot of shows, but I do a lot of great interviews too. So that's usually what I put on my YouTube page. Just look up Mornings with Lone Star. I'm right there. Hit the subscribe button. Check me out every time after I have an interview. More information on my lineup and who's coming in, irlonestar.com/MWLS for Mornings with Lone Star. So make sure to check it out.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Jake from Sports Talk here on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. If you're just joining us, we were talking about baseball basically through the entirety of the show, minus a little bit of basketball at the very beginning. But we've had some good baseball discussions. If you've missed any of the show, you can go catch all the replays on YouTube, SoundCloud. What's the other one? Not SoundCloud. Sorry, Google Play and iTunes. You know, you think I've been here long enough, I'd know, everything. That beautiful voice you're hearing over there is our intern at the station, Mr. Jaden.
I'm happy to be here. Great summer day, July 5th.
You just called me un-American, like literally the day after 4th of July. This is your last day.
All right, guys, I won't be here next week.
Yay! No, we're kidding. We love Jaden. He's helped us out a ton around the station here. So, but all right, we're gonna get into the NBA kind of talk now, and Jaden is my expert, I guess you would say, on the NBA stuff. He likes the nerdy side of this as far as the trades go. But like we opened up the show, big stories coming out of the Indiana Pacers trading Paul George to Oklahoma City. And then Gordon Hayward announcing last night that he is going to the Celtics. Let's start with, and then I guess everything else. Blake Griffin staying in L.A. with the Clippers. Let's see, what other big name trades? The Kings got a couple veterans to help out their
George
kids.
Hill and Zach Randolph.
And then, the two key ones out of the entire offseason, not sexy, not beautiful, but the two key ones are Kevin Durant and Curry returning to Golden State. And that basically won them the championship for 2018. So, but I guess the good thing about
Not yet, Jake.
No, it's done. It's signed. Just go ahead and give him the trophy for the next 2 years. The good thing about all this is that the imagination can run wild here with this. Mm-hmm. And so the Hayward move, because the Paul George move is insignificant.
It's just going to be a 1-year rental.
Yeah, and so it's not going to make a difference, and it's not going to make a difference this year. And
maybe a 6th seed, 5th, 6th.
I was talking to somebody about that yesterday. I said it basically locked the OKC
playoff spot
up for maximum 6th seed.
Yeah,
maximum. They're not going to. They'll make the playoffs, but they're not going to be higher than a 6th seed. I don't think that Paul George and Russell will get along at all. I don't think they're going to play well together.
Well, Paul George isn't as good as a shooter as Kevin Durant, obviously, so you're going to have to rely on his athletic ability a lot more. And I mean, yes, they're both athletic, but is that really a recipe for winning, going far in the playoffs?
But Paul George is going to get...
He can shoot, but he's not KD.
Yeah, but how many touches is he going to get a game?
Not as much as he was in Indiana, for sure.
Yeah,
and you never know with superstars. I mean, he is a superstar.
Oh, yeah.
But you never know how they're going to deal with that.
If I'm Paul George, I'm taking the season off. I'm going to go out there and just try as little as I possibly can, save my body, and basically make it a 1-year hell vacation in Oklahoma City. Because,
I mean, you never know what Russell's telling him, though. You know, he could be telling him, like, if we stay here, we could stay for a while.
George is not staying in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
The whole reason why he wanted to get out of Indiana was because he was in Indiana. Nobody wants to be in Indiana. Not even people who live in Indiana want to be there.
Russ is probably gonna leave with him too.
Probably. They'll probably go to the Lakers together, and then they'll.
And you think LeBron will join him?
Yeah. Well.
My brother thinks the same thing.
I don't know about that either, because you got to look at the Banana Boat brothers going here now. Because this is the imagination part. This is what I actually like about this, is because I can make fantasy draft and free agency moves all I want. Chris Paul signing for 1 year, essentially, with the Rockets.
You think he'll stay more than 1 year?
No. I think he'll try to pair up with LeBron, whether it's in Cleveland or I don't think it'll be back in. I don't know if it'll be back in LA. I don't know if Chris Paul will go back to LA.
Yeah.
But you know who will have some room will be the Knicks, where the other Banana Boat brother is. Up
the
there,
Knicks.
There with Carmelo. You don't think that would happen? You don't see the Knicks bringing in LeBron James and CP3?
The percent of that's under 10%.
Where's your imagination?
I don't know. It's been I honestly haven't been alive for the Knicks to be good. I mean,
I'm neither. Well, I was
they were
alive.
They were like 2 seed when the Heat were really good, but I mean, the Heat would always just sweep them away.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, do you think that the Banana Boat brothers? Because who's the four? It's LeBron, Carmelo, CP3, and
there's one more.
Is it Tristan? No, it's not. Not Tristan. Irving, isn't it not?
I don't know, but those three. Those three.
Those three. Do you think those three will ever end up in the same uniform?
I mean, regardless of if they do it or not, they'll be probably 34 going on in their careers, so they're not gonna be as good as they used to. But it'd be interesting.
Yeah, but do you think you can get enough young pieces, not expensive, but young pieces, good draft pieces, like Tatum? I mean, have you seen what Tatum's been doing in the the Summer League? Yeah, man, I'm excited for him with the Celtics.
It's just there's just so much moving around the NBA. Like I can barely keep track of it. But if that does happen, the other pieces will have to be young because obviously those three are gonna take a large load of the cap space.
Yeah, and I got a fan just emailed me. He said the fourth one is Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade.
And
is it that? Yeah.
And then he added on to it, the four will be way too old by the time it actually happens to the point where they
about
still
a year
won't
off.
be good.
Well, D-Wade needs a year off. Yeah, especially with Chicago's whole situation, they're completely gutted.
That was a nightmare and a half. And
it was.
Poor Chicago. Mm-hmm. They need to bring back MJ and suit him back up, and they'd do better.
Their whole dynasty was like looking bright with like D-Rose and then like Joakim Noah. When D-Rose was like MVP, like they were looking straight up, and then the ACLs just turned him straight around.
Well, and then Chicago. He doesn't care about he had his first ACL injury, and he was like, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, he just I want to be able straight to his after his career.
Yeah, and I mean that's fine, but don't come collect a paycheck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
mean, he was what 23, 24, and you're already thinking about that.
I mean, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with preparing and looking forward to the future, but you've got to try now.
Yeah, you got to focus on what the task at hand.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I just and then Hayward to the Celtics is great. I mean, that's a great pickup for the Celtics. That makes their team
still not past Cleveland.
But it's not past Cleveland, and that's the worst part about this whole thing. It's
as much as there has been change in the NBA. Much isn't going to change, like, in the standings.
No.
Well, in the standings in the back.
But if the Celtics, because the Celtics, with
what
getting
seed were
Hayward...
they this past year? Were they 2 seed? Oh, no, they were 1 seed.
No, they won, they won the East. But with them getting Hayward, they're going to have to get rid of Olynyk. Mm-hmm. And if they get rid of Olynyk, well, they're going to have to get rid of Olynyk to clear up some cap space. But I think they need to get another dominant big. And what about Oladipo?
Oladipo, he's in Indiana because of the... OKC trade, right?
Oh, did he get?
I think he got moved to Indiana.
Oh,
or I didn't. Was it a 3-team trade?
I thought it was just a 2-team straight up trade for. Oh no! Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. He did end up in. Yeah. Oh well, never mind. That one's off of the. What other big could they go get?
There's like those free agent guys. Like my brother mentions Greg Monroe a lot. He wants Greg.
Yeah, but
those aren't like.
No, they can't go get a mediocre.
Who knows? Andrew Bynum may come back.
Yeah. Oh well, I don't know about that. We have another player saying that Blake Griffin is overrated and glad that he's staying and not coming to the Celtics.
We were literally talking about that before the show.
I guess we have more Celtics fans out there than I thought.
Blake Griffin, the deal with him, he's not a player to build your franchise around, but he is a great asset.
Do you think he's a great asset?
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
I think he's a...
He can start to develop an outside shot, which is
he's getting
invaluable
there.
nowadays.
He's getting there, but he's... I don't know. To me, he's not a team player. He's not somebody you can. He
hasn't proven himself. In my opinion, too.
If you put him with other superstars, all they're going to do is butt heads.
Yeah. If the Clippers were good and made it out of the first round, like recently, then I'd think of him as better. But they haven't made it out.
And can we just go ahead and rename the Clippers to the Rivers team with Doc?
Doc and Austin.
The fact that Austin is still there is unbelievable. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to play this imaginary, what if, sort of thing with the NBA. But it's terrible because at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot you can do.
The Warriors really screwed over the entire NBA.
But they didn't say it. I don't.
I mean, not on purpose.
I'm not mad at them, right?
I'm always mad at the Warriors.
I'm not mad at them. They didn't do it in a back, shady kind of way. They did it straight up, straightforward, and you have to commend them for not just necessarily going out and buying everything.
Yeah.
Now they did buy KD, which bought them their second championship, but nonetheless, KD stayed. He took a $9 million pay cut to stay there, and they basically took that $9 million a year and turned around and gave it to
In my opinion,
Curry.
I think KD deserves the money, not Curry. But Curry's been there longer, so that's why they gave him the money. Max.
So do you think
KD's better than Steph Curry?
So it's KD's team? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, it's Steph's because he's been there. But
is it KD? Then why does KD deserve the money?
Skills-wise, KD can score at will. If you need points, give him the ball. But Steph, he'll turn it over. He can shoot.
But then whose team is it?
KD. He headlined it too. When they won, everyone was like, "Oh, KD."
How do you think Curry feels about that?
I think he's fine. I mean, he's getting paid more anyway, so I don't think
he's getting $155 million for 5 years.
I don't prefer Curry's spot. I wouldn't mind not being in the spotlight, but.
Well, I would actually prefer Curry's spot, because you're not in the spotlight and you're getting paid a lot more money. So I mean, it's just one of those things where I like. That's the only exciting thing that's going on in basketball right now is because it's just pure chaos and what ifs. So, all right, guys, we got to take our last and final break. But when we do come back, we are going to highlight. I warned you a couple weeks back that I might do this if we had a slow humor weekend in sports, and we had that this past weekend. And now I'm going to highlight my favorite commentator in all
everyone, America's favorite.
Come back, stay tuned, find out here on Lone Star Community Radio 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. Who is America's favorite commentator?
Remember to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on your computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. Lone Star Community Radio broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
Welcome back. I can't believe we've almost hit an hour already, man. The talking just... I could listen to my voice for hours on end.
I couldn't.
No, I'm sure you couldn't. I'm sure you and a lot of America probably agree with that. You are listening to Jake from Sports Talk here on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. Come and follow the show. Facebook, Jake from Sports Talk. YouTube, Jake from Sports Talk. Email me at jakefromsportstalk@gmail.com. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you agree with the world's favorite commentator, Joe Buck. Because I love this man. This man provides me with the most unlimited amount of just spectacular comic relief and just pure poking fun at the man.
As
But
professional as he tries to be, it will never work.
well, it's terrible. I wish my daddy was a famous broadcaster so I could be a famous broadcaster too. But my daddy's a banker, and that doesn't get me into broadcasting. But so when we close out the show, I usually try to do every week just pure comical nature of what funny things happen from the sports week that we just passed over. And the first one is from the Pacquiao Horn fight from this past weekend. So if you didn't watch the fight, I didn't watch the fight, and Jaden did, and
Got robbed.
and he got
Pacquiao got robbed.
Yeah, he got robbed apparently, and the commentator that was
Teddy Atlas.
Teddy Atlas that was doing the fight, famous boxing commentator. He apparently did not agree with the decision at all.
Not at all.
and
He
he
did
went on
not
a-
agree with it at all.
He went on a little rant before interviewing Mr. Horn himself, and then once he interviewed Mr. Horn,
He was very straightforward.
Very
I'll say
straightforward.
that. We'll play the clip.
Listen, congratulations, great outfit. I thought you lost. But great outfit. I thought this guy was landing the punches. You were throwing a lot that were missing.
Well, that'll do it. Teddy Atlas straight up to Jeff Horn's face said, "You lost.
You
son."
lost. I thought you had. I mean, recap. He said, "I know that was a bad video, but he said I thought you had a good fight, and I thought you landed some good punches, but I thought you lost." And straight to Horn's face, and Horn was just
You know, if Horn was okay with it, I don't think he cares.
because
that
I don't
much.
think Horn could argue about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Horn. From what I saw
Can't
of the
ignore the
highlights, he lost. So
they were gonna call a fight because he was in such bad shape, and he ended up winning. I don't know how that correlates.
Did the judges come out and explain?
It was the ref was probably seconds away from just calling it because he was so beat up. Like,
But did the judges come out and explain why?
oh no, I don't think so. And I mean, there's a big suspicion that they're Australian because they fought in Horn's hometown.
Yeah.
So there's suspicion that they're biased. They wanted Horn to win. They want a new champion.
Pacquiao has just gotten screwed over so many
Yeah,
times.
no, that's what Atlas was saying. He was talking about this whole culture where get a trophy even if you tried.
Yeah.
And he said, give it to the winner, give it to Pacquiao,
Speaking of getting a trophy just for trying or just for showing up or just for having Buck as a last name, now on to our Joe Buck commentary. So this first video is, if you're a Giants fan or if you're a fan of football, the greatest catch in NFL history, Super Bowl history, when Tyree catches the ball on his helmet in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. This is how Joe Buck decides to call this catch.
Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet. Airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree. Inside the 25. And it
No mention of how he caught it. No mention of anything other than Eli Manning slightly scrambling out of the pocket. Manning was literally being dragged down by his jersey and somehow breaks free with his, gumpy Down syndrome body and makes it out and throws out into
that was pretty monotone.
triple coverage, and he traps the ball on his helmet, which no mention of any of this. And Joe,
Catches it at the 25. He's down.
Joe Buck frustrates me, irritates me like no other. And the next clip, he does the same thing. It's a opening kickoff of a game, and here's Joe Buck at his finest.
We're glad you're with us. It's teed up. It's ready to go. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Mitchell.
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 What's happening, Joe? What's happening? Oh, he's down to the 25. How did he get to the 25?
Mitchell. That's all I gotta say, Jake.
All I know is his name is Mitchell. Joe, you're a dang commentator.
Yeah.
Commentate the
On the
bleeping
game.
game
Yeah.
for the love of the... Oh, man. I wanted...
Jake. Jake, what if that was our radio show? Just saying people's names.
That's what we should. Apparently, that's what we need to do. And then you and I and Jaden, we can become famous and just Jaden.
Jake.
Jaden.
Jake.
Jaden.
Jake.
All right. So the last clip I'm going to show you is my favorite of Joe Buck, because this truly shows you how intelligent Joe actually is, and I'm not even going to let you know what's actually...
the title of the YouTube video is Joe Buck is an idiot. So
and there's no need to explain what's actually going on in the game, because this has nothing to do with the game. It's just highlighting that Joe himself is proving to the world that Joe is an idiot.
Well, here it is.
Urlacher on the stop, and let's check in with Chris Myers.
Joe, Sean Alexander's wearing a customized cleat. They're all going, the team is going with a 5/8" up from the normal half-inch, but he has a 3/4 inch, a three-pronged cleat on the front of his shoe to help him get better grip. So far in this game, though, he's been frustrated by the Bears' defense, not the field.
I wish I knew which was longer, 3/8 or a half or 5/8. Here's Heller. Makes the catch, spins forward.
No, it's good. It gets better.
Up two. You played in the NFL. What's longer, a half or 5/8? Or 5/8 is a little longer there, Joe.
Poor Troy Aikman, the Hall of Fame quarterback,
Put on the spot was such a tough question.
having to be side by side with Joe Buck for the remainder of his career. Oh my goodness. Well, that's why I love Joe Buck so much, is he provides me with the stupidity that he is.
I don't know, Jake. Is 5/8 longer than 1/2? Or is 1/2 bigger than 5/8?
Well, I had to pull out my Joe Buck calculator for that one. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that circus is over. We're done. We're out of here. Thank you so much for listening. Guys, if you missed any part of the show, if you want to go back and follow up on the Joe Buck clips, I'll have them posted up on my YouTube page at Jake from Sports Talk. I'll have them up on Facebook at Jake from Sports Talk. And you can email me about the show. Let me know what you think at jakefromsportstalk@gmail.com. And always follow the station. Follow it on Facebook. Follow it on YouTube. IR Lone Star, or Lone Star Community Radio. Download the app. Go visit the website. Tell us what you think. Dick, our station manager, is wonderful. He always loves helping us out. He always loves the feedback and everything. And you are listening to Lone Star Community Radio, coming to you live from downtown beautiful Conroe, 104.5, 106.1, and worldwide on irlonestar.com. All right, guys. Till next Wednesday. Be good. Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show is recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas, at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.